Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. Happy Monday, or maybe it's another day of the week when you're actually watching this. But today when we're going live, it is a Monday. And so I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Um, our guest today is James Sherman Thompson. He is still in the thread somewhere, but he will rejoin us in just a minute. So I want to talk about some of the flyers that we're going through. Hey JT,
Hey, what's up?
how you doing?
Good, good.
JT been playing games with me, y'all. Y'all see how he do? Make me come back on that I was by myself. But did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I had a blessed weekend. Everything was great. Everything was good.
Awesome. Honey, JT been in the neighborhood, honey. He been out doing stuff, so we definitely gonna let him talk about some of that. But again, some of the flyers that we're going forth, please try to make sure you go back, get that information. It's different ones. We know that yesterday was World Vitiligo Day, and so anybody that's dealing with vitiligo, let's show them some support and some love because we're all going through something in one way or another, right? And sometimes, things that we go through make us feel insecure or we messes with our self-esteem, and so definitely want to show them love because they are gorgeous, right? And so like I said, then Brandon Chuck Brown, y'all follow him because he's always in the community. TJ Austin, this one right here, James Thompson. Follow these young men because there's always something going on. If you're a person who's in need of help or a person who likes to be in the community and provide help for others. So with that, I will say, JT, greet the people.
Um, Good Monday first. Thanking God for another glorious day. James J.T. Thompson, co-founder of Big Woo Radio, here every fourth Monday, and we are here. Celebration of Impact Mondays here on Making Connections. Alley, TV. Blessed to be in the building. Coming up a blessed weekend. Super busy as always, but always taking time out. Get and always, you know, you hadn't checked on someone, if you hadn't checked on your family member or cousin or somebody you hadn't talked to, good to check on them, thinking about them, praying about them, and always uplifting them, best of them. Just knowing um, at the end of June, I felt like February.
Hey Jerry, how are you today? Thanks for tuning in. Listen, like JT was saying, check on the people. And the show Saturday was about resources for food, because Fourth Saturday is our food review show. But instead of reviewing restaurants, he talked about resources that you can go to, and every community should have some type of resources. Some may have more than others, but there should be some resource that you can reach out to. And we gave a website where you can go to, and it should be able to help you wherever state you're in to locate assistance. And there's soup kitchens, there's different things, because we want to make sure we talked about the whole family, making sure the kids eat, making sure they have their nourishment so they can grow, so they can learn in school. If you're a parent and you're going through, a lot of times we make sure our kids are taken care of, but then we go without. We don't want you to go out without either. And then the elderly, this and that, put their time in, but don't let us just let them out to the pastor to just perish. Make sure they have food, make sure they can get to the grocery store, their medicines are picked up. Maybe you have to help them, um what is it called, automate some things like getting their medicine delivered. So it's just so many things to think about. But isn't that right, JT?
Yeah, it's a time of need. Seasons may change, but time of need is something that's definitely increased. Here locally in the area, we have a place called Pilgrim's Inn, which helps people of no matter of their race, religion, color, or creed, and they're in need of canned food donations. Also, milk, and things of that nature. So if you happen to be in the Rock Hill area, you go by, you just Google them, GPS them. They're in need of canned goods, especially as they don't keep stock long because people are in need, and so they have put out a thing, and they are in need of those canned good donations. And so if you have a little extra, and every little bit counts, please stop by Pilgrim's Inn here in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and donate some canned goods. And let's help restock a pillar in our community that is constantly giving out food and supplying for those in need. And us in this the day and time when we're living in what they call inflation, but I call it, the struggle is real. I don't care what bill you're looking at. I don't care what household needs you're looking at. Toiletries are in demand. It's just the basic needs, and people are actually trying to figure it out. And so as we get back in, even if we in the summer season, vacation season, always remember that there is someone that may not be as fortunate, and we can all be in that situation, whether it's a need for gas or whether it's a need for, automotive care. We just in that day and time where giving a helping hand and being of an assistance or being a blessing to someone else is not a bad thing. It is actually a very helpful thing. And I encourage, everybody that's watching our show today, whatever it is in your city, in your neighborhood that is pillars of your community, please take the time out to give. And it doesn't have to be, the things that shake in the monetary. They are accepting, food items because they are pouring back into our neighborhoods, and in a neighborhood cleanup that I participated in this weekend. People are grateful to just have somebody that's willing to step out and do, because everybody's not able. Most neighborhoods we went into, they're elderly, and they, what I'm saying, are in need of assistance. So there are more ways than one to help in this day and time. Just choose and pick the one that works for you.
And I agree with that. And just like JT was saying, you might think, well, I just have 2 or 3 cans. That's not gonna make a difference. It might be those 2 or 3 cans that saves a family. You know what I'm saying? So don't determine the amount. Just do what you can. And so that's all we can do, right? As long as we're thinking about it, as long as our heart is right, you know, that's all we can do. But you might have clothes and shoes and things, stuff your children have grown out of. Any of those things are helpful to somebody else along the way. And the topic today, we're talking about Juneteenth evolves, but what JT put on his page was freedom reigns. And these are some of the ways that we can help in that march for freedom, helping people who are struggling to get back on their feet. Because, like JT said, it might just be a season. It's like we talked about Saturday. You might have a good job, you might be working, but it's just a season. Something happened, a sickness, a car repairs, or something that has taken you, out of your comfort zone for a little while, but you just need help through that, bridging the gap to the next season. And so I think when we help one another along the way, when we can encourage one another, that's helping for that freedom to reign. Because a lot of times people get lost because they feel hopeless. They feel like there's no help available. There's nothing that, they've reached their maximum. They don't know what to do. But, sometimes we have to remember to reach out, because there are those organizations, or there's people who maybe, have some more connections that you don't know about. So, what you think, JT?
Yeah, and it's one of the things, if you pay attention to the very opening, unlike most shows, we're giving you the information straight up. We're letting you know what's going on in your communities, both North and South Carolina, in areas that you can get to. So definitely pay attention. If you run back on the replay, you can see it roll again. Those are things that we take pride in, informing the community of things that are going on, because everybody ain't on social media. Everybody doesn't even have access, but you have access to this show. You're going to be informed of what's going on in our communities, and it's something that I take very near and dear to my heart. When I go out in these communities, when I'm participating in organizations that I'm a part of, a lot of times I don't even take pictures, because my main thing is to make sure we're pointing to this community. So you never know what someone is going to.
Right.
So I'm mindful of that, and I'm like, it's not even about that for me. It's about lending a helping hand and helping someone that they may not be all the way down, but what you've done on that particular day may have gave them a pick me up, or just
Exactly.
coming by and saying, "Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you," and smashing a smile and saying, "Hey, you okay?" Those things carry weight, and I believe I've said it previously on here. The Hi, how you doing? Are you okay? Man, it's a rare thing in this day
Yeah.
and times, but it's very powerful and very meaningful. Your vibe, your first impression, how you come on someone, because you never know what someone is going through. It can carry a lot of weight, and it can be an upliftment and an encouragement and have impact on the rest of their day. And that right there is powerful. I know that I encountered a lot of people over the weekend at various events, and the one thing that I picked up on a message that was very near and dear. Ali, we got so much love. We encourage people to love on one another.
Hmm.
You know what? The one thing that we forget about in that love is we got to give grace too. Grace and love,
Mm. Come on.
because we've been through some things in this life that can be traumatic, that can put you through, some things. And we have to be mindful that our neighbors have been through some stuff, and our neighbors have been through some of the same struggles that we've been through. So remember, when you show love, when you show an unconditional love, remember to give that grace as well, because we all need that. You know what? I get it. I understand it. Or I can only imagine what you're going through, but let me say I can give you an olive branch and say, hey, how can I help you? Even if it's just praying with you, even if it's just sitting and listening to you talk and venting moment, you just never know, what I'm saying, what that means, what I'm saying, to the next person. And I said, here, we go through stuff. Life is not flawless for us.
Amen.
So you never know, even reaching out to us, that's meaningful. Even just to say, hey, had a great show, love the message, or you even say, hey, I ain't like that today. I ain't agree. I'm cool
Right.
with that too.
Right.
Because the whole thing, Ali, of agreeing to disagree, that's evolving. That's the growth thing in this life. And I tell you, I say, hey, you know what? I ain't get there in a day, and it took time, but I'm thankful for where I am today, where it pertains to that. Because when you take those steps right there, you notice that within yourself, and it's like it's okay, because everybody has an opinion and everybody's entitled to it, and we're not gonna always agree, and that's all right too. I got a shirt that I wear that says, you know what, today is an amazing day, and it's okay not to be okay today, and
Right.
it's a statement within itself. So let's continue to encourage each other. Let's continue to love each other, but let's not forget the grace that needs to go in there as well.
Listen, that grace, that's a whole show all by itself because grace is that unmerited favor. I mean, sometimes people deserve, I'm just saying, air quotes, deserve to be treated a certain way because of how they act. But when we can look beyond that and see that person and think, well, maybe, they're going through something. I don't know what's happening in their life. And we continue to speak to them. We continue to show them love. We continue to, like he says, have grace in the way we act towards them, the way we respond to them. Eventually they're going to notice that, because I have had people be like, you know what, I was going through something and it seemed like everybody, that I encountered, I was treating them bad and they would come back at me, they didn't understand, but you didn't do that. I mean, every day you still said, hello, how you doing? You still said, can I help you? I see, you might be a little short trying to get your meal, let me pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And it was those things that, because sometimes people, they don't know how to go through what they're going through. I've had those situations. I didn't know how to react. I didn't want people to know. I was ashamed or what have you. And so I would just be trying to, just stay away from me because I don't want to get into it. Maybe I didn't want to cry in front of everybody, whatever. But so that grace that JT is talking about, and you got to have that grace for yourself because we talk about it all the time. even with us, we've made decisions that weren't the best decisions, but we couldn't just continue to condemn ourselves over the decision. We had to pick up the pieces and keep going. We had to give ourselves grace. Okay, I decided to stay longer than I should have. I decided to get this car and I knew I didn't really have money, but I'm just going to continue to trust God. I'm going to continue to pray, and I'm going to continue moving forward.
So many lessons in this life, pun intended, that we go through, and you know, sometimes we find ourselves shadow boxing, and I say that because a lot of times things don't feel real until you actually go through it for yourself, and that's why
Yeah.
I'm mindful of what I say to people. Oh yeah, I understand, and I did that. No, 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 no. I'm so adamant about listening because I ain't been through everything, and so
Right.
if I haven't walked down the steps, I'm going to say I can only imagine what that feels like. But guess what? I can pray with you. I can be a listening ear, all of the above. When talking about our topic today, Juneteenth, I think a lot of times, sometimes we don't understand that we are so much in a better space than what we were, but there's always going to be work to do. There's going to be always things to do because we're still navigating through waters that are uncharted. People say, "Oh, I know racism still existed. I thought it was gone." No, what it was it was undercover. It was covered up, and it wasn't out there for everybody to see. But it's been a little bit more out there here in recent times. But never forget you where we come from, because there were people that had to go through it. Our ancestors had to go through it in order for us to get to the place of where we are, and it's a whole lot better than what it was. But don't take for granted that to think that we've made it, because we're just treading the waters on making the impact. We still have things going on in this country that will put you in the mindset of third world countries at times, and not understanding that, hey, you know what, we got a little bit more freedom than what we had in 1865, but we still have some work to do. And a lot of people may not agree and may not like this, but I'm gonna tell you, a lot of the things that go on in this country, especially in our neighborhoods and places, we in our own way, because we're beating each other down. We're taking each other down that road, and we're forgetting the value of human life. Human life and loving on each other and pouring in your communities are things that people have forgotten about. Instead, you want to mistreat each other, you want to look down on one another, and you don't want to pour into your neighbor, not understanding at a snap of a finger, we could be that person that could be going through it, or could be struggling with that light bill, or struggling with that mortgage. I would never look down on a person, because you never know when you're going to be that person in those shoes. Always be uplifting to your fellow man. I don't care how they treat you. Understand this: the moment that you can treat someone better than what they're treating you, you were in a different space. Forgiveness is a gift from God, as well as love. And when you can incorporate those two, and understand that you are in a better space than what you was, and that they don't put in vain what our ancestors did in order to put us in position to be successful, be able to grow, be able to have, be able to own. Don't forget Black Wall Street. There was a day and time that we were vibrant, moving in a great space, and it was came through and was destroyed. Don't give them what they want. They want to see you fail. Understand and use in motivation that you can be the best version of yourself if you stay focused, stay loving, and don't look down on your fellow man. That's one of the worst things that you could possibly do. And understand that just like you got and you rose, well, somebody had to help you get there in some way, shape, or form. Never ever forget where you come from, and never forget there were people that lost their lives, shed their blood, sacrificed, and labored for you to have the opportunity to vote, for you to be an opportunity to own, for you to have the opportunity to make millions and millions of dollars. Somebody didn't have that and was dirt poor, but used what they were richly blessed with in order to lay their lives down for your greater good.
Listen, basically, don't take your freedom for granted because we never know what what days are coming ahead of us. So the Bible says, "Work while it's still day, for night is coming." We need to work while it's still day. We need to work while we still have our freedom. We need to go out and make make it to the polls, like JT said, and vote. You know, um, sometimes your candidate will win, sometimes they won't. But regardless of who wins, still stay present. Don't just show up every 4 years. You know, it's the community level. You can vote in your hometown. Who is your mayor? You know, it's not just presidential elections. We got to show up for all of those. We have to make sure our voice is known when we have those community meetings. You know, get out there in those meetings and, you know, voice your opinion about what your neighborhood needs. When the census comes along, do the census, because that tells how many resources are needed in that area. And if most people are only 50% of the people are turning in the census, you're only going to have resources for 50% of the people population. So, you know, it's things like that. We do all these conspiracy theories thinking, you know, they're trying to, you know, keep tab on us, da, 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 da. But there are other reasons behind it. We want to make sure, because when that 50% resources come, that means like when COVID comes, everybody's not going to be able to get what they need, because, well, we didn't know it was even that many more people in the city than what we have show on paper. And so, and then, you know, we just got to get out there. We just got to make sure that we're doing the best that we can do. We got to make sure that, you know, we help our neighbors get to the polls. We got to make sure that our neighbors know about what's going on in the community, what resources are available. And it's like I said, you know, sometimes, like JT said too, you know, you may not be on Facebook and all those things, but, you know, some people that aren't on Facebook, that's why we started putting our videos on YouTube, because there's a lot of people that watch YouTube. So, you know, they can come back to YouTube, find our channel, and find this information. So there's so many different ways, and we got to take advantage of those ways while we can. We are too smart. We're too strong. We're too intelligent. We're beautiful people. You know, we got to keep fighting, because the fight is not over yet. We still got a ways to go, and we still have a lot to contribute. You know, we're very intelligent. We know how to get things done. We, you know, there's somebody, this a brown skinned person that's got a cure for something, that's got an invention for something that we need, because it's all about, we know what our neighborhood needs. You know, we see what the children need, to keep them out of trouble and off the street. So it's just so much. I could go on and go on. You go ahead, JT.
But nah, you carrying the marathon. The conversation is need to be had. It's like be a source of energy, be a source of encouragement. The moment that we start taking stuff for granted, that's when we mess up. That's when things go left instead of right. I will say this: you can make more of an impact in your community just by taking steps forward to be the leader, to step out in the gap, to pray the best for your community, and then be the window of that. I'm not saying everybody gonna jump on board right off bat, but if they see somebody out in the front and trying to carry the flag, the torch, or however you want to put it,
Right.
people are going to fall in line, fall in order. And just like, this world, God didn't create this world in one day. Things take time. Trust the process. Trust your faith. Put God first in all that you do. And in here, as you watch this, be inspired, have an open spirit and open heart, and understanding that the moves that we make control the narrative. It's not the narrative that controls us. It is what we put into it. Because if you don't put any works into it, if you don't put any action into it, how can you expect to get anything out of it? The same action that was made in trying to secure our freedom, it was done with people being on purpose with their purpose. People going out there and saying, you know what, I'm gonna stand in the gap of fire. I'm gonna stand in uncomfortable waters. When I say uncomfortable, and if you're comfortable, how can you feel the growth? It is in the most uncomfortable moments in this life when you feel the shift in the atmosphere, when you feel the God's movement. And whether you a believer and whether you all the way there, I can tell you, when you are uncomfortable, that is when you're going to feel the shift the most in your life. And it doesn't always have to be in bad times when you send the praises up. You send it up the good, the bad, the ugly, and the things that you might not understand. And understand that everything ain't meant for you to be understood. But you can be in a better mindset if you let your spirit lead the way and listen and hear what God is trying to pour into you, because the olive branch is always there. He is just awaiting you to recognize and verify and confirm what He is in your life. Meaning, do not deny Him here with the opportunity, because trust and believe, like in a moment's notice, He will deny you when you want to be verified for where you want to go ultimately. So I would heed obedience, understanding, patience, and knowing that every step that you take is a step toward the greater good, it is a step toward positive, eliminating negative thoughts, eliminating negative vibes, eliminating negative people. Because your circle, to be honest with you, is going to be small. If you look back in history, the circles of people that were in leadership and that were laying their lives down, they
Right.
were few. They were few. But those few laid the pipeline for others to come behind it and be able to build out the momentum that they were doing as far as trying to secure our freedom and stepping out there in the gap against all kinds of challenges that we couldn't even imagine.
Mm.
It wasn't meant for me to be in that time, and God knew that. But He put people in that time that were brave, courageous, and ready to go to battle. And so we have to battle on the battlefield in a different way, because we are in our season, and we are in our season to where God has placed purpose on your life to be able to move forward, have an impact, and inspire your neighbor, inspire your family, be a leader. Do
Mhm.
not walk in this life in fear. Walk with not sight, but in the faith, to understand that God is forever moving and that He is forever preparing up doors and stuff that where your name has been spoken, but you ain't walked physically in yet. But understand, when you walk in that room, they already know who you are, because God done spoke upon it and spoke your name in the spirit, and you just coming behind it, doing your due diligence. Remember, please, put God first in all things, and understand there are people that sacrifice so that you can breathe, move, and be free to be able to continue the marathon.
Mm. I mean, I don't even know what to say next. But when he first started talking, I just kept thinking about Harriet Tubman. And I was like, I mean, she was one woman who continued to say, I got to go back. I got to help free somebody else. She didn't know for definitively know that she was going to come back, if she was going to make it this journey, but she kept going because she knew there was a need. And she had visions. I don't know if you've seen the movie and stuff like that. It's like God would just overtake her. It seemed like to me. That's my interpretation. And she would have visions. And so, he would kind of help her along the way. He would help her along the way, but she kept going back because it was her purpose, it was her assignment. So sometimes it is hard to figure out, okay, what's my assignment, where do I fit in? Hey, I asked myself that question yesterday. But but I think just like with Juneteenth, you continue to evolve. Okay, I've done this, but now what's the next leg of the journey? Where's my next? Where else do I plant my flag? So it had to be a scary thing, because she knew if she got caught, what was going to happen to her. First of all, because she escaped the first time, and then she took some other people along with her. But that was her assignment. That's what God had purposed her to do. And so, maybe yours is not breaking people out of a situation like that, but maybe it's breaking financial chains. Maybe it's breaking, self esteem and low confidence in a person. Maybe it's just helping a single mother, to be able to take care of her children, empowering a single father, letting him know that he can do this, and he's got help along the way. It's so many different aspects of this life where people need your voice, your shoulder, your encouragement. So it's just so many things that we can do.
Such a need. um, and I would encourage, no need to stand in judgment of anyone.
Mm.
I call it the no judgment zone, for the simple fact, That's not on me. It's on the Creator to judge all men. My thing and purpose is to encourage others to walk strongly, be confident in how you're moving in this life. And that there are going to be times where you're going to need support, that you're going to need prayer, listening ears, to be able to vent out the stuff that is inside. Don't hold it in. Find you someone that you trust. And above all else, if you can't find nobody physically, God is always listening.
Always.
Always. There's no doubt the day, the time, the hour, the second. Always listening. Don't take that for granted. And God will place people in your journey personally that He knows fits in your season.
Yes.
And they may not be in your season, but a season. But
Right.
they placed there for a reason. And once you understand it, you digest it, you soak it up for what it is, you embrace it, and know that there's some things in this life that are God given. And you recognize it because it's gonna eat you up all in your spirit. You gonna know it ain't gonna be a foreign language. You gonna understand it. It's a God given language. It
Right.
ain't gonna be nothing that you gotta go Google. You ain't gonna have to go look it up. You ain't gotta take a quiz. You ain't gotta check off nothing. It is God given. It'll be open up your heart, your mind, and your spirit and say, hey, this is what is needed. This is what I need in this. And keep your mind open. Keep your mind and be woke. Be woke. Not just have these open, but have your mind open to
Mm.
receive, listen, be able to see everything that's going on in your path so you can understand your journey, so you can discover your true why and your purpose in this life. And I can tell you, once you do, it's all the things on deck. Because once you understand your why, once you understand what God got for you, and you know why you were here on this earth, walking this land,
Mm.
it's a totally different walk in the moon.
Mm. I, I can't remember what the quote is, but it says something about there are two, I don't know what the word they call it, but let's just say two very special days in your life: the day you were born and the day you figured out why you were born. The day you figured out why God put me here, why God put me in this family, why God put me in this city. You know what I'm saying? And so, and believe it or not, there have been people in my life who have hurt me so bad. There have been people who have walked out, but like if I ran across them today, I would give them a hug because I was like, "Oh, thank you, Jesus," because you taught me something. You taught me that I was stronger than I thought I was. You taught me not to rely on other people. You taught me to pray harder and to look to God to see what my assignment was and what my direction was right, in that moment. And so, believe it or not, I'm gonna say it again, believe it or not, there are people who have hurt you deeply that one day you are going to thank them for the situation. They didn't have to do it, no, but it was a reason. God knew maybe they weren't for you. God knew that this wasn't your time to go in business, whatever it is, but it's for purpose. And if you seek God for that purpose, and listen, I'm telling you, I started this journey late, being all woke. I started real late, but now I'm on the journey, I'm on the path, and I want to keep awakening to the things of God. Not even the things of people or the things that my family wants me to do, but the things of God, because there are so many different distractions and things that can, just keep you off track. So you got to get in that quiet time. You got to take care of yourself. You got to be able to hear God's voice and drown out the rest of it. And just know that when you lay down at night and when you've done the best that you can, that's all that's required of you. When you feel confident that you're going to hear, "Well done, my what is it? Well done, my great and faithful servant."
God well done.
Yeah. So, but it takes time getting there. But at the same time, when we arrive, when we become healthy, when we become stronger, it was for us to be able to help somebody else get to that place. So now my vision is clear. So let me just impart to you what my vision is like. You don't have to agree, you don't have to go the same way, but let me tell you what I can see. Let me tell you that there's hope in the future. Let me tell you that there's like JT said, there's prosperity in our future. There is, love and forgiveness, and there's, we are entrepreneurs, we are doctors and lawyers. There's nothing out there that is not attainable to us if we put our hand to the plow.
That's it. Everything is attainable, and speak life upon what you want. Speak life about the things that you want to do, things you want to achieve, goals that you got, whether they short or long term. Speak life to them. You can speak death upon it all day long and be wondering why it ain't happening. It ain't happening because you've been speaking life. Speak it. Say, I can and I will and I shall. Because anything else doesn't fit the description. It doesn't make sense. You talking out of both sides of your mouth if you're saying one thing but you wishing something else. Speak clearly about what you want to do and then put action behind it. You can't go wrong with that. And I say, man, I dream about it, I pray about it, and then I put action behind it. Those are the only ways to go about it. And I also will say this on this impactful, inspirational Monday, embrace your freedom, embrace breaking the chains, embrace all the things that were meant to be destined upon your life. The negative is going to be there. It's like a gray cloud that you're trying to get out of your atmosphere. The storm shall pass. If God brought you through it, He's gonna bring you out. But you have to have that faith that is small as what you can't see. You should incorporate those things right there and be able to move through and go back to the shadow box and be able to move around. Ain't got to be athletic. You just got to believe. You just got to have faith. You just got to know that my God is bigger than anything that could be a hurdle and an obstacle in this life. The devil can't have no victory in your life. He can't get no joy. He can't even enter the space. And if he do, that's why I say shadow boxing. You can box him right on back out your life. Speak
Yes.
life upon that. Be mindful of that. You ain't committing no crime by dusting the devil out your life. What you were doing is freeing yourself of the chains of negativity, the chains of mental illness, the chains of depression, the chains of things that are trying to weigh you down, like having a cinder block chain to your ankle and you can't move. You can break the chains starting with your spirit and your mental, and you are strong enough. Speak it. You are strong. You might be weak for a moment, you might be it for a minute, but it doesn't mean that you can't get up. We've all been knocked down before. But the biggest thing is getting back up. That is the key. Once you get back up and say, you know what, no matter how many times I'm knocked down, I'm getting back up. That right there is power in the movement, power in the action, and understanding that I will not succumb to any negativity or anything that's speaking against my life. I will overcome. I will overachieve. I will win. Win victory upon your life. Always speaking it's gonna be power. You hear the phrase power in the tongue. You will have power. You control the narrative. You can speak it into existence. And you can also position yourself where you need to be. It all starts in your mental. Speak it. How's you talking to God and stop what you're working with it is and what you is, who you are and what you want to be. And it will happen. My friend, believe it.
Amen. You got to speak it. You control the narrative. And with you and God, you are the majority. And who can be against you? And so don't fight against yourself, because a lot of times we're looking outside, but a lot of times, most times it starts inside. So we got to make sure we're on this journey to all the good things. God has given us all good things pertaining to life and godliness. So, he's not a God of lack, so he doesn't want you to be a God of lack. I mean, a person of lack. And so we're gonna stop right here and take a commercial. One is going to be a commercial about cookies, treats for the sweet. I got it right this time. And then JT, tell them about the song In This Life.
Like um, written, like, like, I,
Now, I don't know if everybody else can hear you, but I can't hear you that well right now. Can you?
yeah, in this life, yeah, in this life was written in a different day and time and space, but meant to impact and inspire. And I was blessed to have Minister T Breeze on the feature, and it brought it even more to life. So yeah, that's in this life you can do anything, you can overcome, you can achieve, you can be a winner, victorious in this life.
All right. Thank you, Alan. We're ready.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
General, sporadic, sometimes chaotic, with explosive moments, this life. The tale of two stories, with a moral of it, with meaning and impact, this life. The facts are as many as the myths that exist along with them. Sunrise brings intrigue, yet fatigue due to the stress and strife of everyday life. This life. Checks with balances still leave lightweight wallets. Emotion-filled decisions without logic. But this life will hand you a hook with no books. Figures in this life. Now, I'm navigating through my emotions, trying to obtain the next level. No tripping or falling. And failure, certainly not an option at all. This life. By any means necessary, and all hands on deck. I refuse to lose in this life. I win, pun intended, and intent meant to ascend and overcome, because I shall not in perfection, but by design, I control the narrative in this life.
How the life coach, man, but they couldn't get right. It's hard to fix my life when your life just ain't right. Well, alright, well, this is life, it's not a movie, okay? You can't be Claude or Ray, you gotta be you every day. And who's to say that life ain't right what God want it to be? Cause if he want it to be, then it be different for me. Well, in fact, to think differently, that makes me insane. I'm not a star in the game, I don't be driving in lane. A shredded cheese, it's the best one, it's against the grain. You call me Monterey Jack, man, I'm doing my thing. I'm often misunderstood cause I'm not moved by man. I understand the plan, there's always prayer at hand. I overstand that the assignment was only given to me. And why they tripping off the dicks is not for you, it's for me. And you remember Jesus went up on the mountain to pray. While everyone else slept away, he was sweating blood out his face. Woo. I can relate. Yeah. That's life, man. That's right. And sometimes life gonna have you separate yourself. You know what I'm talking about?
That was In This Life with James J.T. Thompson featuring Minister T Breeze. Listen, check out all streaming platforms. It is out there. And guess what? Poet JT has some more stuff out there. So Check them out. Look for them on the streaming platforms. Download their music, share it. Tell your send your friends to it and tell them, listen, you gotta listen to this, because in this life, things will change. In this life, you have good days, you have bad days. In this life, you have days where you feel strong and you can conquer the world. Some days you feel like the world is all on top of you. So in this life, there are different dimensions and scales to, how we operate and how we move. So, JT, I don't know if you can still hear me. We can't see your face, but in this life, be encouraged, because regardless of what season it is, regardless of, the changes that occur, you can make it. You are strong enough to get through it, thrive through it, survive through it, and tell somebody else how you did it to help on the way.
Man,
JT, you still with us?
yes, ma'am. I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah. Every time I hear the song, I'm super encouraged, and just think about what it was written to do, and it's just amazing what you can do when you put a creative thinking cap on and put pen to paper and make it come to life. And we coming up on this season of Queen City Awards season, and this song is coming up for nomination, coming up real soon in September. So definitely gonna need everybody's votes as we get into September and October. Very powerful song with a powerful message, and like I say again, blessed to have Minister T Breeze on the feature with that. And just anytime, Aly, you have opportunity to create legacy and create like what we're doing here today in today's show. It's humbling and it's honoring, and even talking about the topics, Juneteenth, and encouraging people to be the best versions of themselves and apply action to their life. Those things you can't make it up, and it's just amazing to have the opportunity and the platform in order to do so.
It really is. And it's just, and even like with the cookies treats for the sweet, I just love to, let people know about what's going on. This is a young African American woman who's, doing several businesses. She's an entrepreneur. And I mean, it's something that she was just natural at, she was good at. And so she decided to start monetizing it. And so sometimes we think out of the box so much, or I don't know if that's the exact phrase I want, but sometimes you could just gotta look at, what are you good at? What's in your hands? What do you naturally do? If it's everybody in the neighborhood comes to you to get their eyebrows plucked, or to get their chin waxed or get their hair done, that's just something that you're good at. Maybe you should think about monetizing. Maybe somebody always asks you to bring the cakes to the cookouts and to the church, and somebody always asks you to bake a cake. You got to think about what you're good at. Maybe you're good at words. Maybe you could be a writer for Hallmark, and put those words in those cards that make people feel like, I feel heard, I feel seen. So it's just so many aspects. I think we put things in like one or two, maybe five categories, but there's so many things that we can do in life. Maybe you're good at organizing stuff. Honey, I need people to organize my stuff. So don't just be like, well, I can't do anything. I'm just good at, putting things in order. Well, there are some of us who are not good at putting things in order and having everything, right where we can touch it. And so we need people like you in our life. So it's just so much. We just want you to be encouraged. We want you to figure out, if especially if you're struggling, if you're living in lack, you know, you can't seem to make ends meet. We don't want that to be your life's lesson. We don't want that to be your journey always, because we know that there is a change in your future. There is something different that God has for you. He doesn't want us to be in lack. He doesn't want us to be, even if you've been diagnosed with a sickness, there's a mindset that helps you live through that. And, you don't just lie in the weight of death, but you live until you die. Does that make sense, JT?
Makes complete sense because you're living your best life and you're living and speaking life upon yourself and understanding that, at one point in time, there'll come a time where that journey will come to an end. But in between that dash, make it back, inspire, be a positive energy in all lives that you come in contact with, and understand that we can fade negativity away by oversaturating the atmosphere with positivity. If you do that, you bring a lot of things to life and a lot of things that are needed in this world today and in this land today. And you may be gifted in that way and not even realize it. Utilize your gift, discover your gift, and then apply pressure. Pressure is applied to diamonds and jewels, and they are rare in this life. Be the pressure, apply it. You'll never know what you may come up with and what you may see when you apply that pressure. But utilizing and understanding your gift and bringing your purpose to the forefront is very important. And I'll say, once you discover it, it may be a little frightening at first, but walk in faith and know that God designed that for you, and never let selfishness enter into it. It is never about oneself once you discover your purpose. It is always about moving the spirit and the love that God puts in each of us to move it and shift it as much in the atmosphere as possible. And you will see the windows of blessings will pour out of your window because you no longer are thinking about yourself in the flesh. You're thinking about the goodness and the works and the spiritual works that God wants you to do in your life.
Ooh, listen, right there, we can end right there because, oh, whenever we go to the spirit, I mean, I don't know, something just overtakes me. And, maybe something, you feeling something and you're like, what is this I'm feeling? What is this? I feel inspired to get up and go do something. Get up and go do something. Every day do something that gets you to a better place. Sometimes, again, we want to eat the whole pie at one sitting, but sometimes we got to take it by slices. Just make sure you're getting there, make sure you're moving forward, make sure that you did something today that's going to make tomorrow a better for you, for your family, who your community, because listen, that's how we get there. JT and I didn't start here, definitely I didn't, but I now I know there's a purpose, and now I can't really stop even if I want to, because there's some days I'm like, oh, I just want to go to bed, but I have to show up because there's purpose behind this. And I don't see it all now. I don't see the fullness of it, but I believe it. And at the end of the show, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I showed up because I was changed. I was inspired. I was empowered by the information. I learned something. So, you know, it's going to take steps, but you got to take the steps to get there. You're not going to get healthier doing the same things you're doing right now. You're not going to get build that muscle until you start working that muscle. So, but what I do know is you can do it, because what I also know is God has no respect of person. If He'll let it happen for us, He will absolutely let it happen for you, because that's the kind of God He is. JT, any last words before we leave today?
Yeah, I just want to leave our audience with this. In this life, when intended, people are either going to be your blessing or your lesson. Once you figure out which one it is, apply pressure and execute and be on purpose with your actions in this life. Be goodwill towards all men, whether they like you or don't like you. You love them regardless, and you can love them in moving and in passing and showing acts of kindness just by saying, you know what, the best thing that I can do is pray for you and keep it moving and pray nothing but the best upon your life and hold no malice or no hate in your heart. And I guarantee you, the space you're supposed to be in will be the space that was God given and created just for you. God bless y'all, man. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in to Making Connections TV with Aly today and myself, JT. And know that you have been a blessing upon our lives just by tuning in. You have given us and continue to motivate us to keep bringing great programming, especially on Fourth Mondays. And all the programming you can catch every Saturday at noon and every Monday at 2 p.m. You can check us out on our YouTube channel, Making Connections TV, the show. You can dial up any episode that you want to dial up. Also, if you want to catch episodes on Big Woo Radio, go to bigwooradio.com. We got 600 plus episodes of all different variety of shows on there. And go like us on our Facebook pages as well. Making Connections TV show with Aly. Go to bigwooradio.com. You You want to shoot an email, shoot it over to JT at bigblueradio.com. You can contact us. Follow the Poet JT pages on Facebook and IG.
Yeah.
We are accessible. We are Googleable as well. Check us out. We appreciate you tuning in.
Honey, I love when people say Google me. Yes, come on, JT. I love it. I love it. Listen, I'm following his lead, y'all. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Of course, like JT said, we're here every Saturday at 12 noon and every Monday at 2 p.m. But make sure you put on your calendar. JT is with us every fourth Monday. And then every fourth Saturday, we also do a food show review. And so again, we're helping with resources, to help people feed their families and just become stronger internally and externally. That's what we're about, building wealth inside and out. Building, healing inside and out. Everything, the total person. And so we appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, check us out on Facebook. If you missed the shows, don't the shows are on Facebook, or you can go to our YouTube channel and check them out. So make sure you share these shows with somebody on your timeline, because we always say maybe you're in a good space, maybe you're working your magic and everything's good, but not everybody on your timeline, not everybody in your groups are. So share this information with somebody else that it can help them along the way. So until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Make sure we're going to vote for Poet JT in September for In This Life.
Got